Hello and welcome back to my continuing coverage of Loki, the new Marvel show that hits Disney Plus with a brand new episode every single Wednesday. This is episode 5. So last week with episode 4, as you hear my voice is crack, I'm just super excited about it. Last week with episode 4, we were left on a humongous cliffhanger. The TVA, the timekeepers, falsehoods, everything. Just everything is just false. There's no truth. Just all lies. The timekeepers were robots at the end of it. So they're not the ones controlling the TVA, it's someone else. A very Wizard of Oz situation. And Loki gets pruned. He ends up in a random location with a bunch of other Lokis, other variants, staring at him, saying, "You need to come with us. Let's go." And then Sylvie holding the prune stick to Renslayer going, "You better tell me everything." That is where we ended. What a great cliffhanger, right? You know, that is the wonderful, the wonderfulness of cliffhangers, man. If they get you, it just makes it even harder to wait another 7 days for the next episode. But in this episode, we have two things going on until they eventually collide. But the first thing is that Loki is with the other variants in this void, and he's trying to get out. The other variants tell him, like, it's not possible. We've been here for a very long time. And there is this giant cloud that just sucks up all matter and energy. You can't escape it. So you must survive. That's what we do. We're Lokis. We survive. That is what Richard E. Grant's Loki says at the beginning of this. But Loki, our Loki, the one that we follow, he's like, listen, I'm not going to just sit here and wallow in my misery. I'm going to find a way out of here, which is some great character growth, if you ask me, because if anything, he probably would have just tried to dominate the area and rule over it, but he's like, no, I'm out of here. And then the other storyline that we have, briefly, until they eventually collide, is that Sylvie has Renslayer under the heat, you know, and asking her all these questions like, who started the TVA? What is the beginning of time? What is the end of time? So they eventually go to like Miss Minutes, and you know she kind of pulls this up or whatever, and she's kind of sketchy with her answers too, so you know that she's also in on it. But yeah, and then eventually Sylvie, she prunes herself and she ends up going to the void, and then they both try to figure out to get out of there. So that is the basic plot. I didn't want to spoil anything else, you know, just in case if you want to watch this brand new and fresh. I definitely want you to kind of like pick up on all the little things as well. But as far as the actual episode goes, what did I think about it overall? Crazy enough, this feels like a finale. This felt like the finale of the series, which tells me next week's episode is going to be a very dense epilogue. And I have a feeling that we're going to be introduced to the person that's behind the TVA. I have my theory on that. I'll get into when I get into the spoiler section of this review, I'll lay this all out for you guys. But they're going to find the person that's behind all of this. They're going to confront them. Very dense kind of explanation and exposition that will be probably taking up the whole entire episode. And I have a feeling the way it's going to end is going to set off events for Spider-Man No Way Home and most likely Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So we'll see, but I'll lay it all out when I get there. But yeah, I really did think this felt like a finale, which was weird, and then it ends on a cliffhanger for sure. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, it seemed a little like this was the end point. So like, what is going to be next week's episode? So that makes me even more excited. But I really enjoyed this episode because it's action packed, it's thrilling, it's got some great character growth in it, and that's what you always want with these television shows. We just keep moving forward. If you feel like an episode just kind of is a standstill and doesn't really go anywhere, it feels like kind of a filler episode or a waste. And I didn't feel like this one was a waste at all. Really having Loki see his other variants seeing his flaws within himself, realizing that he has changed, and he's wanting to do better. I thought was really cool. He's trying to find his glorious purpose, and he sure as hell finds it at the end for sure. But I love this kind of switch that Loki has now. I still think he's kind of in the gray zone. He always will be, but he's dipping more into hero territory with this episode, and I quite like that. It was nice to see all the other variants interact with him. Richard E. Grant's classic Loki, the alligator, boastful Loki, President Loki. All of it was just so crazy and chaotic. I loved every little bit about it. I wish I could have seen 1,000 different Lokis or different variants interact with Loki. That would have been a whole lot of fun just to see the banter between them and Tom Hiddleston. But yeah, I liked all the conversations that they had. A lot of it was intriguing, especially from classic Loki, Richard E. Grant's character, and maybe his timeline. I found that kind of interesting. But yeah, I thought the conversations they had were meaningful. Like I said, I love the fact that Loki is not a completely different person, but he has a different way of thinking now, which I always like. Because it's unexpected. And you're like, okay, Loki's going to just be the same person. But it seems like with the camaraderie that he has with Sylvie, it has completely changed him for the better. And they're a great team. Once Sylvie gets to the void, that's when it kicks into high gear with like the action and just the suspense that kind of looms over the entire episode, pun intended, because they're fighting a giant cloud monster. But I love the plan that they hatch. I love that they get in there, they get it done, and just watching this whole thing kind of unfold was a really great kind of like climactic fight. And Kay Herron, the director, she is killing it in this series. I believe she's directed all the episodes thus far. She's also going to direct the last one. She knows how to stage conversation. She also knows how to stage action. And just watching the whole battle between all the other variants and Loki and Sylvie trying to fight this cloud, it was really fun to watch. And then yeah, it just ends. You kind of know what's going to happen, but still, this with the title of this episode, Journey into Mystery, I have no idea what the 6th episode is going to be. It's a complete mystery to me. So there you go. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Some great character moments for sure. Loki has found his glorious purpose for sure, which is really touching. He's always looking for that. He has found a deeper kind of connection with Sylvie, and yeah, the whole battle at the end was just awesome to watch. So yeah, I think great episode for sure. And next week is going to be a little calmer, I'm just assuming. But yeah. So yeah, really like this episode quite a bit. I'm going to jump into spoilers now. So if you haven't seen this episode, feel free to log off now. Come back to it. And maybe your theory will be the same as mine. Okay. So some of the things that I kind of just saw as like little nice Easter eggs throughout the episode before we get to the very end, because that's where the where everything lies, is just that end shot and like who is over there. Classic Loki was talking about fighting Thanos and dusting and everything, and I thought that was interesting. In his timeline, they kind of do the same thing, so that was just kind of fun. There's also like a Thanos helicopter in this junkyard that they're kind of going through, and apparently that's from like a Spider-Man comic, so that was really cool to see. And then yeah, I don't know of any other like giant spoilerly like stuff like that. Those were just kind of like fun little Easter eggs, like I said. I forgot to mention Kid Loki in the non-spoiler section. He's fine. The actor does okay. I think Richard E. Grant and the actor that plays boastful Loki, they were way better. But yeah, Kid Loki was whatever. So at the very end, Sylvie enchants the cloud monster, Eliath. I keep forgetting its name. She enchants it, and she's able to break through a barrier where they can kind of like go see who's behind all this, because they have a feeling throughout the entire episode that this cloud is kind of a shield to protect whoever's behind it. So the end shot, they enchant Eliath, and then you see them go towards this like almost like vision of like a house in the background, like a giant like castle. I mean, it looks like a evil lair for sure. So you know whoever's behind the TVA is living there. So this is where the theories have been kind of going buck wild all over the internet. Is who is in that building, and is it Kang the Conqueror? I have a feeling it's Kang. It seems like everything is lining up for it to be him. Also, some interesting theories. My computer just loves it. Thank you for the noise. But yes. Yeah, I'm losing my mind. Thank you, computer, for losing it. But yes, I think it's Kang that's living there. He's the one that's controlling everything. In the comics, Kang and Renslayer are lovers. Jonathan Majors has been cast as Kang. He was filmed at a comic book shop, I think earlier this week or last week. Seems like something to get people excited about, because he might be showing up here pretty soon. And then it just seems like with everything kind of that you hear from other people that have read the comics and everything, it really does seem like a 95% sure that's Kang the Conqueror. Now, I don't know much about this character. I'm assuming in his name, he wants to conquer everything. So I think conquering time and controlling people and the universe, pretty, what's the word? I'd say that's pretty valid. As a conqueror, like, hey, I think controlling like time and people and stuff like that seems like something I would do. That checks. So, yeah, I have a feeling it's him. If it is him, I'm wondering if he is the end of time, because when Sylvie and Renslayer and Ms. Minutes were going over the timeline, you can see that there was a clear end of time. Is that Kang? I have no clue, and so I have a feeling that we're gonna be introduced to him, or Jonathan Majors, or whatever variation they have of him, and I have a feeling he's gonna explain everything. They're going to try to fight him. Ain't going to happen. And then Loki and Sylvie are going to get shot to another timeline, or they're going to cause another ripple in the multiverse. And it's going to lead off into the events of Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2. Just my theory. I have no clue if that's true. But I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen. And Kang is supposed to come up in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which tells me it's also going to be a time travel movie. So, I have no clue, guys. I have no clue. But yeah, I'm excited to see Jonathan Majors. Not only as this villain, I've never heard of this villain. I don't know what he is or what his background is. So, like, it's exciting to see a brand new kind of villain, especially for me that doesn't read the comics. I just go off the movies. But Jonathan Majors, if you guys have never seen like Lovecraft Country, Last Black Man in San Francisco, the guy's a treasure. Like, I was blown away when I saw The Last Black Man in San Francisco. I could not believe how good he was, and he was like the, I don't even think he was the co-lead. He was like he was the best friend of the main character that we were following. But the few scenes that we had with him were so touching and moving. I was like, who is this guy? And then when you watch like a whole television show with him in Lovecraft Country, it's like, dude, this guy is like the real deal. So yeah, Jonathan Majors is a talent for sure, and I hope he just explodes from this, and I hope people check out his stuff, and I hope he just continues to do smaller films as well. Just find that right balance. So yeah, that is just my working theory, is that this is gonna be more of an exposition episode, and then I think Loki and Sylvie are gonna try to do something about it, but Kang is just gonna be too powerful. And then they're going to get shot off and break the multiverse a little bit more, maybe into another timeline. I have no clue. Maybe Doctor Strange will show up at some point, wherever Loki is shot off to, and like, I need your help or something like that. Because at the end of WandaVision, it seems like Doctor Strange is going to go visit her at the cabin, Scarlet Witch, and recruit her. So I don't know. It's early, guys. I woke up early to do this review, but yeah. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on it. I don't know what else more I can kind of discuss. I want everyone to hit me up in the comments or whatever. Just let me know what you thought of this episode 5, Journey into the Mystery. What did you think of the end? Make sure you label it as spoilers in the bottom, but yeah, I want to know everyone's thoughts on it, because it seems like I've enjoyed every single episode of this show. I think they just progressively get better. I know a lot of people kind of stumbled with 3, but then they kind of got back on track with 4. So I want to know everyone's kind of thoughts on the overall kind of arc of these episodes. So that will do it for this review. Next week, guys, is the finale. Super excited, and then I will end this coverage of Loki. But I'm having fun doing these, so I would like to get back into it with, I'll pick another TV show or miniseries or something. So that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee, and I'll see you guys next week for the finale of Loki. Bye-bye.